This is the new Kia EV9, and I'd argue that this is the best value EV currently on the market. With prices starting at 370,000 ringgit, repeat with a 5-year warranty. This is Kia's new flagship, and this is Malaysian motoring. Now, the Kia EV9 arrives in Malaysia in just one trim line, which is GT-Line. On top of that, it only comes with all-wheel drive, which means you get two motors, one in the front and one in the rear. Outputs are very heady as expected from a high-performance Kia, but all of this is built on an 800-volt architecture, which means that despite packing a near 100 kilowatt-hour battery, DC charging takes only 24 minutes to go from 10 to 80%, provided you can find a 350 kilowatt DC charger. AC charging, however, is just 11 kilowatts, which means dead to full will still take about 10.5 hours. Now, the Kia EV9 is built off of Kia's very latest design signature, which is why you have this very bluff front end replete with these cube-style LED headlights. You also get this very distinctive LED daytime running light signature replete with the LED signature in where the grille would normally be. You also get the digital tiger nose grille up front, which I think certainly looks very smart. As we move down the side, rolling stock is set by a stat of 21-inch alloy wheels wrapped in Continental Premium Contact C tires, which are rated not only for this car but also for the performance and the weight of the thing, because certainly this is not a light vehicle. Now, it is worth noting as we move further back that one of the key features on the new EV9 is this. The EV9 comes as standard with a side camera setup, no wing mirrors here. This not only improves aerodynamics, but also improves visibility, particularly when you're trying to park this otherwise massive thing. The feed from this is displayed on a set of cameras that are set within the car, which again improves overall visibility. Moving further down the side, as you can see, this car is very blocky, very square, and very, very bold. That said, however, there are a distinct lack of lines down the side simply because the heft of this car does not require any further assessment. That said, you still get the flush door handles to again improve aerodynamics, and overall I do think the side profile of the EV9 is very distinctive, and you certainly will not mistake this for anything else on the open road. Now, given the fact that the EV9 can go from 0 to 100 in under 5.5 seconds, this is most likely going to be the view that everyone will get to see, and mercifully it is just as distinctive as the front. You have these very distinctive LED light signatures back here, and of course they are full LED, including the indicators and so on. And again, I do think the EV9 does hide its heft pretty well with a lot of this complex surfacing, the very distinctive rear bumper, but otherwise a very clean tailgate. And of course, adding to all of that, of course, is the wiper back here, which is hidden up here in the spoiler. Now, behind this enormous tailgate, you will find not only a huge amount of space replete with the third row up, but you also find quite a few amenities. So as you can see, in terms of luggage space back here with the third row in place, this is quite sizable. That's because the EV9 was actually benchmarked against American SUVs, which are significantly larger than the ones that we get here. Now, in terms of the accoutrements back here, not only do you get a 3-pin plug, you also get buttons in order to fold the second and third rows, as well as a 12-volt socket and space underneath the boot floor to hide the parcel shelf. Yes, this car comes with a parcel shelf so that your valuables will not be on full display. Now, as far as I'm concerned, this does mean that the EV9 comes in as one of the most practical 7-seaters currently on the market, and actually even embarrasses the 700,000 ringgit Mercedes-Benz EQS. Now, inside, the EV9 not only highlights the fact that this is an electric Kia, but also the flagship Kia, not only in Malaysia, but also globally, which is why this interior is like nothing else we've seen from the brand before. Sure, you have the very familiar 12.3-inch twin screens that handle both instrumentation as well as infotainment, but you also get a digital screen in the middle in order to handle your HVAC controls, which again allows everything to be manipulated quite easily, although I still would have preferred buttons. but Kia's listened, which is why you actually have temperature manipulation controls here, as well as a volume rocker in order to very quickly access those functions. In addition to that, we also get a full color heads-up display, allowing all the most pertinent information to be displayed directly in the driver's line of sight. And if you haven't had enough screens, you also get a screen up here in order to show your rearward visibility, which certainly aids it should the car be fully loaded. And of course, you get those two screens up here, again, to show you your side view monitors. Now, the steering wheel is also unique to the EV9 because it is essentially a two-spoke setup with all of the physical buttons here dedicated to not only manipulating the screen ahead of you, but also the ADAS functions. And as we've said before, Kia has among some of the most polished ADAS functionalities and level 2 semi-autonomy functionalities within the segment, and so this is certainly something that you can trust. On top of that, you also have your drive mode and terrain mode selector up here, which means you never really have to move your hands very far from the steering wheel or to manipulate everything that you need to. Now, these seats are actually quite interesting themselves. Although they are upholstered in faux leather, that's right, they are at least heated and ventilated with memory functionality for the driver's seat, as well as heating for the steering wheel. Now, because this is an EV, there is also a palatial amount of space in here, which Kia has used for practicality. You have this enormous storage bin here, replete with a set of cup holders that you can push to deploy. You get a wireless charger here, a relatively shallow center armrest, but you also get more space under there. We also get the very latest feature from Kia, which is a pair of USB-C ports, one of which can be configured either to just charge or to charge and provide data transfer. This is in order for you to use your Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, so if you don't want it to charge, if you don't want to use it, you now have a button there. And of course, if you still need more juice, there is also a 12-volt socket. Now, in addition to these seats being very pretty, they also come with the Relaxion functionality, which means these two front seats can actually pivot upwards and put you in a zero gravity position, which is ideal for when you need to take a quick cat nap while the car charges. All very nice. Also, I do like that the headrests in this car are done up in mesh, simply because that reduces the amount of heat that will come from the back of your neck, and it does mean that it is surprisingly pliant. All very, very good. Oh, there's a sunroof up here, which is nice. Now, the car that I'm in right now is actually the 7-seater, which means you actually get a bench in the second row. If you were to get the 6-seater, you actually get another pair of those Relaxion seats like the ones we saw up front over here, which also come with full electric adjustability, as well as heating, ventilation, and massage functionality, which means that this could be a pretty good chauffeur car that is underlined by these little sunshades here on the side. But that said, this 7-seater, although this is the entry-level EV9 model, if you can call it that, still comes with plenty of goodies. Now, the HVAC system in this car is actually a 3-zone climate control system, so it's dual in the front and singular in the middle, with the controls for that up here on the ceiling in a much better display than what we've seen from the Kia Carnival. We also get a separate sunroof back here with an electric sunblind, which means that again you can look up out into the sky or not, should you so like to. And I must say that this headliner feels very nice. You also get ceiling mounted aircon vents, which means that you get your air blown directly to your face and not a set of crotch coolers, which I always appreciate. And of course, you still get heating and ventilation for the outer seats. Again, very, very impressive for this price, given the fact that some cars twice the price don't offer this. Now, in terms of comfort, with the front seat set up in my driving position, I have an excellent amount of kneeroom and, of course, an excellent amount of headroom despite the panoramic sunroof. I also get my own armrest with a couple of cup holders, which can be adjusted to the correct height, thank God. And of course, you get USB-C ports mounted on the sides of the front seat, so everything here does do pretty well. Now, this particular seat can actually be tumbled forward in order to access the third row, where you'll find that with the front seat, or rather the second row, set up in a reasonable enough position where you can tuck your feet in underneath the seat in front of you should you need more legroom. I actually have a decent amount of knee room and a decent amount of headroom, although under thigh support remains quite woeful. That said, however, I still get my own air conditioning vents, I get my own USB ports, I get cup holders, and I even get an electrically adjustable backrest. Now, in addition to them being electrically adjustable, they are also surprisingly comfortable with the headrest set up in a reasonable enough position. On top of that, these two seats also come with ISOFIX mounts in addition to the seats in the second row, which means you can mount up to 4 child seats in here and enjoy pretty good flexibility, if you ask me. And so life in the third row does not feel like the cheap seats, even though arguably they are. And I suspect that the majority of EV9 customers will mostly be using this as a second row or a two-row SUV, which means this is not really that big of a deal. Now, being a flagship Kia, naturally the EV9 comes chock full of active safety features, as we've come to expect from the Korean brand, which means that we get one of the most polished level 2 semi-autonomy systems, as well as the full gamut of ADAS safety features, which is what you'd expect from a large family car, and again befitting the price point. Now, the Kia EV9 starts from just 370,000 ringgit, with just a 5,000 ringgit premium required in order to get up to the 6-seater, should you want something that's a bit more comfortable to be chauffeured in. As I mentioned earlier, all cars come as standard with a 5-year 150,000 kilometer warranty, as well as an 8-year 160,000 kilometer warranty for the battery and drive motor. Let us know what you think about the new Kia EV9 in the comment section below. Do you think that this is indeed the best value EV on the market? Or do you think that you'd be better off spending your money elsewhere? We'd like to hear from you. In any case, that has been our launch coverage of the new Kia EV9. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, hit the little bell icon to be notified every time we make a new upload. Don't forget to follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. All the links are in the description below. Thank you so much for watching. We will catch you in the next one. Take care and stay safe.